So in this verse, Puranjan is leaving his body. Tam eva manasa grinan. Tam eva manasa grinan. Babhuva pramadottama. Babhuva pramadottama. Anantarang vidarbhasya. Anantarang vidarbhasya. Raja singhasya veshmani. Raja singhasya veshmani. Tam eva manasa grinan. Babhuva pramadottama. Anantarang vidarbhasya. Raja singhasya veshmani. Tameva manasa grinan. Babhuva pramadottama. Anantarang vidarbhasya. Raja singhasya veshmani. Tam, her. Eva, certainly. Manasa, by the mind. Grinan, accepting. Babhuva, became. Pramada, woman. Uttama, highly situated. Anantaram, after death. Vidarbhasya, of Vidarbha. Rajasinghasya, of the most powerful king. Veshmani, at the house. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. King Puranjan gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently in his next life he became a very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as the daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the king. Purport. Since King Puranjan thought of his wife at the time of death, he attained the body of a woman in his next birth. This verifies the following verse in Bhagavad Gita 8.6. Yang yang vapismaran bhavam tadhyati antikalevaram tam tam evatikantya sadhatat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. When a living entity is accustomed to think of a particular subject matter or become absorbed in a certain type of thought, he will think of that subject at the time of death. At the time of death, one will think of the subject that has occupied his life while he was awake, lightly sleeping or dreaming, or while he was deeply sleeping. After falling from the association of the Supreme Lord, the living entity thus transmigrates from one bodily form to another according to nature's course, until he finally attains the human form. If he is absorbed in material thoughts and ignorant of spiritual life, and if he does not take shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, Govinda, who solves all questions of birth and death, he will become a woman in the next life, especially if he thinks of his wife. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Karmana Daivanetrena, a living entity acts piously and impiously, and sometimes in both ways. All actions are taken into account, and the living entity is offered a new body by his superiors. Although King Puranjan was overly attached to his wife, he nonetheless performed many pious fruitive activities. Consequently, although he took the form of a woman, he was given a chance to be the daughter of a powerful king. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 6.41, Prapya punya kritam lokan Ushitva Shashvati Sama Shuchinam Shrimatangehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. If a person falls from the path of Bhakti Yoga, God realization, due to attachment to fruitive activity, philosophical speculation, or mystic yoga, he is given a chance to take birth in a high and rich family. The higher authorities appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus render justice to the living entity according to the living entity's desires. Although King Puranjan was overly absorbed in thought of his wife and thus became a woman, he took birth in the family of a king due to his previous pious activities. The conclusion is that all our activities are taken into consideration before we are awarded another body. Narada Muni therefore advised Vyasadeva that one should take to Krishna consciousness, devotional service, and abandon all ordinary occupational duties. The advice was also given by Lord Krishna himself. Although a devotee may fall from the path of spiritual consciousness, he will nonetheless attain a human body in the home of a devotee or a rich man. In this way, one can resume his devotional service. Tameva manasagrinan babhuva pramadottama anantarang vidarbhasya rajasinasya vishmani. King Puranjan gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently in his next life he became a very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as the daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the king. Omagyanti mirandasya ganandhyana shalakaya shakshudum militanyena tasmai shri gurave namah. Shri Chaitanya manobhistam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is the story of King Puranjan, which Narada Muni is telling to King Prachina Parishad. Because King Prachina Parishad, he became very entangled in the material world. So we see that here, that he takes another birth. And what kind of birth? According to what he was thinking of at the time of death. So what he was thinking of? He was thinking of his wife. Nowadays, marriage life is not really working so good anymore. So many get divorced. They have one child, they get divorced, and they live in separate places, separate apartments, alone could be, and they get a dog, for example. And then not thinking of the wife anymore, but of the dog. So what you become in next lifetime? You become a dog. So that was stated here. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you think of at the time of death, that there is where you go. So here King Puranjan, he was thinking of his wife, and that's what the whole story shows, that whatever the wife did, he followed. So it's a naturally this attachment to the wife. And if a man is too attached to the wife, he's not glorious. Spiritually, he's not glorious. If a man is rich in the material world, then he's like, yeah, it's considered glorious. But if he's spiritually attached, or if he's like a poor man, it's not considered glorious. But if he's attached to a woman, that's also not considered spiritually not glorious. So we have become very entangled in this material world because of our attachment. Why are men? Why? Oh yeah, we should speak from the point of the man's view then. Why are they so attached to the wife? It's stated in the Shastras. It's like because of two things. The wife gives pleasure to the tongue, fills the belly and the tongue, and to the genitals. So it's actually attachment to sex life, and that happiness is considered like so big happiness that the whole material world is simply going around because of this kind of happiness. But that happiness is said to be insignificant compared to the happiness of spiritual life. So even in the spiritual world, there are also men and women form. And they are even attracted to each other. But they are not interested in sex life. Because they have a much higher pleasure. So the point is to get a higher pleasure, and this is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, giving up lower pleasure. What is that verse? In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you can read it here. Isn't it 62? No, it's this one. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavajam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Param drishtva nivartate means higher taste. So if you restrict yourself from that kind of enjoyment, still you have like a taste. So this is spiritual life. When there is some taste for material objects, material sense gratification. But if we restrict ourselves from that enjoyment and experiencing a higher taste, then we are fixed in consciousness. So it's about cultivating a higher taste. So that's what we do in the Krishna consciousness movement. We try to cultivate a higher taste. Because the taste we are looking for, the pleasure we want is ananda. We want spiritual happiness. We want real happiness, which is to serve the Lord. So Prabhupada, he talked a lot about many things. So even this topic also. So I had wanted to read something, what he said. So Prabhupada says, in spiritual life, there is no sex life. In the spiritual world, there is no sex intercourse. There is no sex life. Although there is man and woman, there is no sex intercourse. By chanting the glories of God, there in the spiritual world, they get so much great pleasure that is far beyond this pleasure of sex life. If you have something best, then you forget lower grade pleasure. So this sex pleasure is lower grade pleasure. It is not pleasure. It is illusion. But in material world, this is the greatest pleasure. Therefore, everyone, they are coming back to this sex pleasure. Everyone. Even so-called religionists and swamis, they are coming down to the sex pleasure. Because in this material world, that is the only highest pleasure. So long one will be attracted by the sex pleasure, it is still in the material world. And when one will be on the platform to spit on sex pleasure, then his spiritual life begins. That is stated by Yamunacharya. The famous quote, Yamunacharya was the spiritual master of Ramanujacharya. And he was he was formerly big king. So he said, since I have become Krishna conscious and enjoying, since that time, as soon as I remember even sex life, I spit on it and my mouth becomes turned. Or another place he writes, my lip curls in distaste. So this is the test. Not that you become very advanced spiritualist and at the same time advance in sex life. That is not. That is the test, that as soon as you are advanced in spiritual life, all these materialistic habits will be rejected automatically. This is the test. 4 things are material demands: eating, satisfaction of the tongue or belly, and satisfaction of the genital, ahara, and sleeping, and to become a good defender, defense measure. These are material necessity. And the one who is spiritually advanced, these things will be reduced almost nil. Yeah. So this you find in all religions, actually, that married life should be with sex life should be within marriage. So that's human life. Is in order to regulate it, but still. Still the same attachment is there. Somebody said that I know the quote here from Prabhupada. Prabhupada mentioned this illicit sex and illegal sex. So illicit sex is a sex life outside of marriage, and illegal sex is sex life, you can say, is legal, but illegal inside marriage, in marriage. Because sex life is still meant for creating good progeny. But anyhow, it's better to be married than not to be married. Because in married life, it doesn't create the same addiction. It's an opportunity to gradually become free from it, this attachment, and experience a higher pleasure. So attachment to sex life is very strong, but it's even more strong outside of marriage, actually. So these are some points about about why we are in the material world and why we continue in the material world. So now I am a man, but sure, been a woman before, and you see let's say a lady, well situated, good looking, everything very nice, good job, like this here. He was a king in his previous life, King Puranjan. Next life, he became a very beautiful and well situated woman. But that was a result of his strong attachment to his wife. If you compare this King Puranjan with King Prithu, who was the emperor of the world, there was a different scenario. They both went back to God. The wife was attached to serving the husband, and the husband was attached to serving the Lord. So that's the thing. If we become attached to serving the Lord, but then one can wonder, okay, I'm attached to serving the Lord, but why then get married? What's the use of marriage then? For marriage, I'm not thinking I get married in order to satisfy my senses, but same time I'm attached to the Lord. So why I should get married? So one should not get married in order to enjoy material life, because that's impossible. To enjoy material life is impossible. To enjoy spiritual life is difficult, but it's possible. It's difficult. But to material life, the happiness one is looking for in the material life is impossible to get, because it's just a reflection of the real happiness we are looking for. So it's simply impossible. It's like everyone is dreaming around the next corner, I will get my happiness, my desires fulfilled. And we're just running after mirage, running after mirage. And it just endless suffering one gets because of this. While spiritual life is very difficult, it's difficult to focus your mind. You have to bring your mind always back to the lotus feet of the Lord. You have to engage yourself always in service, tolerate your mind, pushings, anger, lust, greed. What's the Rupa Goswami says? The mind, and he says, first verse of Nectar of Instruction, Upadesha Amrita. He says, Jiva Vegam, Udarapasta Vegam.
Control tongue, control
belly, control the genitals. How does it start? Vacha Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarapasta Vegam. Etan Vegam Yovisha Heta Tira. He says that control of speech, this is difficult, but it's possible. Vajravegam, Manasa, control of the mind, also very difficult. Mind wanders all over the universe. When you chant Hare Krishna, sit and want to do japa, so my mind is blah, 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 blah. I don't like him, I don't like that, I don't like this, blah, 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 blah. Mind is just talking. And it's because the mind and the false ego work together. And we're living in our own little world, own little bubble. And it's just me and my mind and my ego. Little world. Mostly what we look around with is simply projections. We just make projections, So we have to... It's difficult to tolerate this, and it's difficult to get out of it, But the process to get out of it is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means intelligent. Unless we are intelligent, we will not cannot go back to God. We have to be intelligent. We have to use our intelligence. So it's like a thinking. Start to think. Who was that philosopher? Who was one philosopher? Yeah, it's not forbidden to think, we have to allow ourselves to use our intelligence. We are used to not use our intelligence, just like dogs and animals. They don't have this intelligence. And we think like, oh, I should just be like an animal. Then I will be happy. Because then all this intelligence is like disturbing me. Intelligence is disturbing me from my just enjoying. I should have no consciousness, no, in Norwegian, samvittighet. It's really the Lord in the heart. So therefore, if I can just get the Lord out of my existence, then I can just enjoy and be like an animal. So this is the most stupid thing. Most stupid civilization who leads people towards animal life. So the intelligence gets lost, the connection with the Lord gets lost when we just follow our instincts like that. So one has to tolerate, control the tongue, speeching, the mind, the anger. So this is difficult. It's difficult, but it's possible. While material life, being happy in the material world, with your family and home, kids, and enjoying around the table with friends. It sounds like I want to do eternally, like that. But it's not possible. It's impossible. It's an illusion. But we don't wake up to it. Because we are so attached. And that attachment is lust. And that lust covers us. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That the lust covers the intelligence of the living entity. Remember what it says?
334 or 337.
Yeah? Around there. Yeah.
Krishna said then this is most of the best enemy of living entity.
He says, 39. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nityavairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So, we can say it simply like that. Lust is impossible to satisfy. So the immaterial world means trying to satisfy one's lust. Impossible. It's simply impossible. Because lust doesn't bring satisfaction. It brings the opposite, actually, frustration. While spiritual life means controlling lust. So that's difficult, but it's possible. Then it's possible for happiness. So, it's like a happiness experience for a prisoner in prison. Yeah, some kind of happiness, but he's in prison. He's shackled, changed. He might have changed around his leg even, so he cannot really move. So what is that chain? Is attachment to sex life. That's the chain. So, therefore, Krishna has invented Chaturvarnyam Mayashishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasham. He has invented a varnashram system. with 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. 4 ashrams, training as a brahmachari, celibacy life, student, young. Then in married life, training to do sacrifice, to live in a proper household life, and gradually become free from material desires. Then vanaprastha life, retired life, and then sannyas, which are all Krishna's arrangement for the living entity to attain, go back home, back to God. So Krishna has created this system, and he's coming as Lord Chaitanya to help the living entities get out of this entanglement. So I have another quote here. Yeah. Without understanding what is the duty of a human being, because he's fallen, so we should not bother for maintaining our family and children till the time of death. No. Up to 25 years. A brahmachari is trained to refrain from sex life. That is brahmachari, celibacy. But if he is still not able, then he is allowed to accept grihastha life. There is no cheating, hypocrisy, that I proclaim myself as a brahmachari or sannyasi and I secretly do all nonsense. This is hypocrisy. The hypocrisy life will not make one advance in spiritual life. That is the example given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His personal associate, you know, Chota Haridas, Junior Haridas, he was a very nice singer. So he was singing in the assembly of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one day he went to beg some rice from Shiki Mahiti's sister. And there was a young woman, and he lustfully saw there. That is sometimes natural. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding that, just to teach us, while he was eating, he said, "Who brought this rice?" Chota Haridas. So ask him not to see me anymore. Finish. Everyone was surprised. What happened? Then by inquiry it was found that he lustfully saw one young woman. So just Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so strict that he rejected him from his associates. Then other big devotees requested him that he has committed some mistake and please excuse him. He is your servant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all right, then you bring him back. You live with him. I am leaving this place. They said, no, sir, we shall not raise this question anymore. They were afraid. Because Lord Chaitanya, he said, if I hear more about this, I will go. So when this Chota Haridas found it impossible to again go into the assembly of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he found it hopeless. He found hopelessness. Then he went to Triveni and committed suicide. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows everything. Then, sometimes after, he inquired, what about Chota Haridas? Somebody said, sir, you rejected him. Out of disappointment, he has committed suicide. Oh, Lord Chaitanya said, that's nice. Just see how strict. That's nice. He never expected any, any sympathy. Oh, I rejected this person and he has committed suicide. Oh, no. He said, oh, that's nice. That's all right. He said like that. This is one thing. Another thing, Shivananda, one of his very exalted devotees, he was taking care of all devotees who were coming to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to visit during Ratha Yatra. So he was married. So his wife came and offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu obeisances. And he saw that the wife is pregnant. So he immediately asked, Shivananda, your wife is pregnant? Yes. All right. When she gives birth to a child, you keep his name like that. Now see, one man simply he saw with lusty desire to a young woman. He was rejected. And one man has his wife pregnant. He adored him. That's all right. So sex life is not forbidden in this movement, but hypocrisy is forbidden. If you become hypocrite, then there is nowhere to. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Chota Haridas, he presented himself as a brahmachari and he was looking after a young woman. Then he understood he is a hypocrite. Reject him. And Shivananda Sena, he was a grihastha. Grihastha must have children. What is wrong there? He said, yes, my remnants of foodstuffs should be given. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So our request is, don't be hypocrite. There are 4 ashrams, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Whichever ashram is suitable for you, you accept. But sincere, don't be hypocrite. If you think that you want sex, all right, you marry and remain like a gentleman. Don't be hypocrite. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. He did not like hypocrisy. Nobody likes. But for a person who is seriously engaged in Krishna consciousness movement, for him sex life and material opulence is not very good. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion. Parang jigamishor bhava nishkinchanasya bhajannon mukhasya parang param. Therefore, voluntarily, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas. He was very nicely situated in his family life. When he was family man, he married twice. One wife died. He married again. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us not to become... But when he took sannyas, he was very, very strict. No woman could come very near to him from distance. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. So in whatever ashram we are, it's our duty to not be hypocrite, to be very strict. And even in family life, so much sacrifice there actually. Actually, it's like you're brahmachari and you get married. When you get married, so much you have to do with children, and you have to educate them and bring them to school, and you have to work to earn money for everything hard, and then also, you have to maintain your spiritual life also, and it's like a very hard work, and when married life, you can say, when it finally starts to be good, you can say, when the children are finally, they're grown up, they have become married, and they're situated, and you worked hard, you get your positions, you have taken all your education, and you fought a lot of battles, you can say. Then when life finally starts to get good, and you can enjoy the fruits, you can say, from family life. That's the time to go, Then you go for sannyas. Then you leave family life. because this is the system created by Krishna. One is supposed to make spiritual perfection. Human life is meant for spiritual perfection. And the way to do it is especially like getting a spiritual master and serving him. Serving a pure devotee of the Lord, a devotee of the Lord, a great soul. Mahat sevam dvaram ahur vimuktes. So, serving a devotee opens the door to liberation. Shushushu shanadhanasya vasudeva kataruchi. Shanmahat sevaya vipra punya tirtha nishevana. Because you get by serving great souls, you get a taste that's how we get that higher taste for hearing the Lord. Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. Ruchi means taste. You get a taste for hearing about Vasudeva, Supreme Lord. While at the same time, if we associate with women or men attached to women, it's another door which opens to bondage. Tamodvaram. You have a Tamadvaram means door to darkness. Tama. Dvaram means door. Tamadvaram yoshita sangi sangam. To associate with women or men attached to women. I mean, to associate with women means you associate with women for sense gratification. So even in married life, one should not associate with wife for sense gratification. It's not the goal. One should the wife together. One should serve Krishna, and the wife should assist one in serving Krishna. In this way, one can become fixed. In one's parts of Krishna consciousness. So it's very good to come together in the morning, Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, Satang Prasango, Mama Vidya Sangvido, Bhavanti Ritkarna Savayana Katha. So because it gives us it's very pleasing to hear the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam when we discuss amongst the devotees. In this way we open the door. We become free. So any comments or questions?
Krishna, thank you. I have a discussion on this moment. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this is very good, and
Chota Haridas
doesn't make it suicide. I just started thinking maybe this is because of he was very happy because he left the body and did not make any more any other offenses for himself maybe.
Yeah, so you
Don't.
yeah, I understand. So your comment or question is like I just repeat it here because nobody can hear it there. Why, in one sense, how is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it is nice, that is nice, that's very good, that's all right, that somebody commits suicide? How is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could say such a thing? What is good about it, that he commits suicide? Why is it good?
Understand, if you make suicide, you cannot get a human body, or you can become a ghost.
Yeah, Haridas, he became like a ghost, you can say. But he continued to serve Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya could hear him singing, glorifying the Lord. But it just shows the extreme importance of not being a hypocrite. We should not be hypocrites. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't like it at all. So it seems like he considered it proper that he took suicide. Because let's say he does this, he looks at a lusty woman and he's rejected by Lord Chaitanya. If he continues to live in this world, he might even start running after young women, do more heavy sinful activities, because of his senses are uncontrolled, and he become a bigger hypocrite. So that would be worse than taking suicide.
He was a sannyasi.
He was a sannyasi, brahmachari sannyasi. Anyway, there was a story with Prabhupada also. There was one devotee who was a sannyasi, and he fell down, and he asked Prabhupada. They were walking in a morning walk, and they were walking with Prabhupada, and he asked Prabhupada but Chota Haridas committed suicide because he looked lustfully at a young woman. So if a sannyasi, one of your sannyasis, if they start looking lustfully at a woman, should they commit suicide? Should they commit suicide? If a sannyasi falls down, should he commit suicide? And he asked, and Prabhupada said, yes, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed the example. He said, yes, that's good. And at that point, the sannyasi were walking with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, he spoke more, but the sannyasi had already left, because Prabhupada said, yes, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, example. But then that sannyasi left, who had fallen down, and Prabhupada continued to speak, but said, but now this is not what we should do now. For sannyasis, because Prabhupada had many sannyas disciples, and they were not qualified for sannyas. So it's not the best, but they should then get properly situated as grihastas, like that. They should not commit suicide, you see. It's just because they're fallen, they're not necessarily because they're hypocrites. It's just they're not strong enough to be sannyasis, because they were young men, 22, 23, 24, born in the Western society, so many impressions they had from material sense gratification. Very difficult to stay sannyasis. Only some few made it. So many fell down. So then then it's like somehow it's somewhat abominable to take sannyas and then get married. But still, that's what he recommended. So Prabhupada, he spoke about this, but the sannyasi had already left. He only heard that one should take suicide. So he went and committed suicide. And he just did exactly the same as Chota Haridas. He disappeared from the assembly. Nobody knew where he was. But then they heard. And this Chota Haridas, we heard he committed suicide in Triveni. And that's where this sannyasi also committed suicide. His name was Vishnujan Swami. Somebody told her from that place that a sannyasi came and he told them to bring them out in the middle of the river, and he jumped in with some heavy thing bound around him. But I heard an astrologer said that person, this was in 77, I think, just shortly after that, a year or 2 years after, another person took birth. And he's in our movement, and his name is also Vishnujan. And he's just going all around the world. He's going there for now for 30 years, just doing Harinam. And that was what Vishnujan was doing. He was always singing. And then an astrologer said this is the same person. So, so Vishnujan, he went down there in Triveni. Then he took birth again. You met him, you've seen him, he's on YouTube, this Vishnujan. I've been in Rishikesh with him. He's always with a dolak, not with the mridanga, with the dolak. And he's always, he's very good on the street, you know. Everyone is dancing and like that. Anyway, so...
Out of this point, why Prabhupada makes so much sannyasis, unqualified sannyasis?
Oh, it's an emergency situation. He just, because they preach, you know. You need preachers, you need sannyasis. Huh? You need sannyasis. And so it was like everything was on fire, you know. Everything was on fire to preach, to spread Krishna consciousness, you know. So,
saying like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also made this decision to be a sannyasa because of this.
Yeah, to preach. Because people respect a sannyasi, they listen to him. It's like his service to the Lord, and the opportunity for making spiritual progress. So Prabhupada, brahmacharis came, you know, and after some years, you want to get married or you want to take sannyas. I was like, okay, sannyas, married. But of course, many was not qualified. But that was Prabhupada, even in Prabhupada's time, so much experience he had that many was not qualified for sannyas. Many fell down later. But then he made them sannyas and sent them out all over the world, you know, and he didn't want them to commit suicide if they fell down for sannyas. No, so it's not good, you know. It's like, but then get married and live as a proper grihastha. But that sannyasi who was walking with Prabhupada, he didn't hear everything Prabhupada said. He just heard that, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said one should take suicide. But then he continued to speak, but our sannyasi, in our time, one should not do it. It's not like that. But then he left already, that sannyasi. He didn't hear it.
So you fall down from sannyasa position, but if you go for grihastha, there will be like a fully, how to say, nobody will respect you. How you can go back to if you got already sannyasa?
Yeah, it's worse than death.
It's very worse than.
It's worse than death. Because to be for an honorable person, to be dishonored, is almost worse than death. Rather commit suicide because you can live with it. So therefore, that's how they also, So. But still, we are in Lord Chaitanya's movement. Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, they're so merciful, and okay, you were respected, you fell down, but if you live like a proper grihastha after that, okay, it's very, very painful. Your honor is very much dismantled, but still, I think one can be happy, understanding that. Well, I I did a lot of service. Now let me serve in this ashram.
So after, if he falls down and he feels this happiness, means Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgive him, because how you can be happy if God is not?
Yeah, but here is Prabhupada. The servant of the Lord is sometimes more merciful than the Lord. So he's an intimate servant of the Lord, and if he accepts, so the Lord will also accept.
Thank you.
Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Ramdar Shri Bhagavatam ki jai. Which one? Where did I stop it?
Push me.